So when my friend Greg Newby was talking to me, telling me we should do a blogging conference in Oklahoma City, I thought that was a great idea. And then I started meeting people here and talking to the people who blog. And there are some amazing bloggers. But they would, every time I'd meet somebody, I'd say, hey, who else should I go and talk to? And they'd introduce me to somebody else. And what I found was that there were tons of people, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, people that I wanted to put on a stage to talk about how you reach people online. They know all kinds of things, creative ideas, creative ways of thinking. They should know each other. And so I decided, okay, not a blogging conference, then what? A digital influencer conference? Is that a thing? I don't know. Let's just give it a try. So that's what this is. This is my clout score. I'm not much of a digital influencer, truth be told. 60's not bad. But look at this. I used to be way down at 49, and then I jumped up, right? So I must know something about digital influence, right? One day, I climbed 7 points. And clout is a measure of how effective you are on Twitter and Facebook. And what I did to make that happen was I had a baby. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you, go knock somebody up, right? If you want your clout score to go up, this is how you do it. But the truth behind this is, when I first started making this happen 9 months before, I wasn't thinking about my clout score at all. Although, frankly, this, it would have helped. This, I wasn't thinking about that, and through the whole 9 months, and then when I gave birth, I didn't give birth, my wife gave birth, she'll never forgive me for that. This was not on the cards, I wasn't thinking about clout. I just took a picture, put it on Facebook, and of course, lots of people, they were interested in that. And the truth behind that is that real influence flows from the real world into the digital world, or it should. So I'm interested in who influences the influencers. So I took all of our speakers and I looked at who they follow on Twitter, and I ranked them in order of how authoritative they were, how much clout they had, essentially. And we have Barack Obama, Kevin Durant, Conan O'Brien, Daniel Gordon, James Harden. What? Daniel Gordon has more clout or social authority, which is an equivalent metric, than James Harden? That doesn't make any sense. This guy, a jeweler from Oklahoma City, recently moved out of market, has more authority than this guy, who has really changed, by the way, and become terrifying. I used to like that guy. The tool is broken, right? The tool must be broken. That doesn't make any sense. So I like data. So I started digging into the data, and I looked at how many tweets Daniel Gordon has done. And 140,000, and that's just a mind-blowing amount of tweets. James Harden tweets a lot, right? I've tweeted 900 times. I wouldn't even be on there. And so I looked at everybody else in the top 9. How many tweets is that? Daniel Gordon's tweeted twice as much as all of the other top 10 combined. And do you think Barack Obama is doing his own tweets? I hope not. 1 tweet every 8 waking minutes for 6.5 years. That's how I felt. Oh my God, what? This guy is dedicated. He must love it. He must love it. That's how I felt. Ain't nobody got time for that. Sweet Brown, by the way, local celebrity online, harder to reach than Reed Drummond. 0.005% of Twitter profiles are verified. Hardly any of them. Check this out. Not verified. Gary England, the Oklahoma Gazette. They don't have a verified profile. Verified in 2013. Recently, Warren Buffett and Bill Clinton. Guess who's verified? Daniel Gordon. Verified. Twitter is telling us this guy is a celebrity. We should be really interested in what he's saying. So I asked him, what's the best thing anyone ever gave you because of your influence? And he told me their time. This guy, that's actually pretty cool. For a guy who spent 14 solid weeks on Twitter, their time, wow. So that's not the metric that I like to go off of, though, when I'm puffing my own ego. I like this metric better, followers per tweet. Now, I hardly ever tweet, so I get a new follower nearly every time I tweet, whereas Daniel, it takes him 12 tweets to get a follower. However, that's still 1 every 2 hours. So I'm going to tell you some tips that will make Daniel Gordon blush. And here's one for you. I went to this conference this year. It's a great conference, and they have a Twitter list of everybody who's attending the conference, 690 people. So I waited until lunch on the first day. I tweeted a little bit about, hey, I'm at the conference. And then I followed everybody on the list, right? And then next day, anybody who hadn't followed me back, I unfollowed them. I grew 100 followers just by doing that. It's terrible. It's just the kind of thing that you probably shouldn't do. It's grasp. That's me grasping for followers. This is a really cool tool, Embeddle. And what it does is, it's a browser, it's a Chrome plugin. And what you do is you load it up, and then when you're looking at any content on the web, you can click a button, and it'll pull up this sidebar, and it'll tell you who is talking about that content on Twitter and what their clout score is. So you can just legitimize more or less any conversation. So let's say that I am BWAP. BWAP are here today. They make backpacks. You buy one, and they give 2 to charity, and we're going to be giving one away for the selfie contest. So let's say, I'm looking at the day's news, and I see this Tom Shoes, it's PRI. It's about Tom Shoes, which is a kind of similar deal. And I'll load it up, and I'll just look through. Who has a high clout score? Well, I just found you a journalist. I just found you an investor. And I just found you an expert in marketing in your area. And you have a perfect way to start a conversation. They just expressed an opinion about an article. You probably have an opinion. It's just a legitimate way to start a conversation with them. Clout can be important. I know it's just numbers. I know nobody wants to be run by an algorithm. But the Palms Resort, they've started checking your clout score when you are at the check-in desk, surreptitiously, so you don't know, and then upgrading you if you have a high clout score, which is an interesting kind of tactic. But a lot of people think that clout is nonsense. They don't like that, and I understand that. But as a marketer, it's a goldmine of data. Say I was opening a new restaurant in Oklahoma City. One of the first places I would look to get some kind of coverage about that is Eat Around OKC. It's a great blog about food in Oklahoma City, and they have 8,000 followers. Hey, Eat Around OKC, would you feature us? But that's just the beginning. With a tool like Follower Wonk, you can put Eat Around OKC into that tool. It's actually part of the Moz toolset, which is Ruth Burr, who's going to be speaking second to last. There she is. She's live tweeting at Confluence Con. A little bit of subliminal messaging there for you. This tool is part of their tool set, and it'll allow you to download into a spreadsheet all 8,000 of those followers. Anybody's followers, and anybody is following. That's a lot of data. I love spreadsheets. So what I've done is I highlighted the columns that are interesting to me, and I'm going to filter them up here. Okay? That'll give me little arrows at the top, and then I can select, for instance, the bio of all of these people on Twitter, and I can drop down, I can look at text filters, contains. I only want to see bios of these 8,000 people that contain the words blog and food. Sorry. Oh, it's okay. Just got a little creepy in here. Can you see me? Can you see me now? Well, we're going to carry on. Blog or food? 15 people, okay? These 15 people represent 15 great websites and 25,000 followers. And the number one person in terms of authority on that list of 15 people who say that they are interested in food and blogging is Stephanie Bice, who writes for the Oklahoma Gazette. Great person to talk to. In fact, why not hold an event for these 15 people? Hey, you guys should come, meet each other, we'll give you free dinner, review us. Simple. Took 5 minutes. But you have to take it offline. You have to take it offline. Yeah, offline. These are some of the people, just some of the people that I met and talked to in face-to-face, had a real conversation with when planning this conference. And a lot of them are here. And I was telling my wife, I was a little bit nervous this morning. And she said, don't be, you've had coffee with everybody. And I thought, yeah, she's right, I kind of did. But Twitter is just one of the many tools that should be in your toolbox. This is a blog post that I wrote. Poor Man's Sprite. It's just a it's a mortifyingly embarrassing thing that I do in restaurants sometimes. Instead of buying a soft drink, I will crush a bunch of lemons and limes into a glass of water and sprinkle some Splenda in, stir it up, and pretend like I bought a drink, right? And it's delicious. It's not really delicious. It's cheap, is what it is. But I posted it onto the Frugal Reddit. So I blogged this, right? And then I know that Frugal Reddit has 320,000 readers, and I can post something on it in 1 minute, maybe. So I posted it on there, 649 visits to a brand new blog from the Frugal Reddit. That's not bad. It's not crazy, but it's not bad. This is my best Reddit post. It was for the Daily Telegraph's website, but 437 upvotes translated to nearly 250,000 visits, and that's really not bad for 2 minutes worth of work. So take Reddit seriously. It's a great place to drive traffic. However, this content is way better on my blog. This is something that I put together for out-of-town guests and friends when they come in. It's basically my favorite things to do in Oklahoma City. It's a Google map, and you can go around. It's much better content. So you've got to think about, how are people actually engaging with my content? Because if you just go on the numbers, in 1 month, 603 people came to visit my post about Poor Man's Sprite, but only 41 people came to visit my post about OKC Mapped, my map. But then look how much time they spent, right? The people who came from Reddit, they only spent 5 seconds each on my site. They're not coming back. They don't care about me. They didn't even enjoy it, I don't think. These people over here, the 41, they spent a lot of time. Those people are going to come back. They're interested in what I do. They're probably interested in Oklahoma City. Those are the people I should be courting. So look deep into the data, is my point, and learn what works, because human beings, we're not that smart. We're adaptive. Analytics. You need analytics to see that kind of data, so get it if you haven't got it. It's pretty straightforward to hook up. In the lunch break, we're going to have a designer and a developer out there answering your questions. And if you have a question like, how do I set up analytics? Then talk to Hal Gatewood, who is in the audience right now and will be out there. I'm known mostly for SEO. No, I'm known for being myself. I do SEO. And what that means is search engine optimization. It's about ranking things high in search engines, because if you rank first in a search engine, you get around 20% of the traffic, and it more or less halves every rank you go down. So it's important to rank well. So I wanted to prove that a brand new website, my blog, the first post on that website could rank well for stuff and drive traffic. And so it was my son's 2nd birthday, and I took a bunch of pictures, and I thought, I've got some good content here. Let's see if I can do it. And I did it. This is the first post I ever launched on my blog, and it's just got consistent traffic. It's all from search. So how did I do it? Let's talk about that. This is Google Keyword Planner, and it essentially is a repository of every keyword that anybody has ever searched. And you can mine it, and you can find out, well, how much traffic is there for whatever. So I put in Elmo Party, and it's telling me there's around about, I highlighted them, around about 8,000 visits every month, or the circle around sort of the phrases about Elmo Party and Elmo Birthday Party. And Elmo Birthday Party Ideas captures all of them. So let's Google that and see how competitive it is. And I encourage you to do this. So I Googled it, and look, there's a shopping feed at the top. You can't outrank that. There's an images feed below that. You can't outrank that. Then there's iVillage, Party City. Party City has a video. These are good, strong domains. My brand new blog just doesn't stand a chance against these. So let's try again. Elmo Fruit Tray. That's a kind of a central part of this post. I actually made it myself, so I know a little bit about it. I can talk about it. 320 people every month looking for Elmo Fruit Trays, and 70 looking for Elmo Fruit Platter. Okay, well, then we go with the words Elmo Fruit Tray. We maybe mention the platter further down, so we might rank for that. And now let's look at that, Elmo Fruit Tray. Well, obviously I managed to rank first for that, right? It wasn't very competitive. How did I know it wasn't very competitive? Well, look at the page titles, which are the blue and underlined here. That's your blog post title, essentially, and it's the most important relevance area. So you want to get your keywords in there. And what was ranking number 1, Elmo B-Day Party Ideas, didn't mention anything to do with Elmo Fruit Trays. So Google, that might be a little bit about fruit trays. And the second one, same deal. The third one, Elmo Fruit Tray. That one was targeting exactly that. But look at the content. It sucks. It's terrible. We can outrank that. We can do better than that. So this is my post, right? At the top is the page title or the post title, Elmo fruit tray and other birthday party ideas. Hey, let's throw that in there too in case the post does really well. We might rank for a lot of traffic. And then Elmo is baby crack. My blog is mostly me just ripping off my wife's jokes. And you can see that I've highlighted in blue every time I've mentioned the word Elmo, fruit tray, birthday party ideas, stuff like that, and the post goes on and on like that. It's basically, if you've got a piece of content which is about what you're trying to rank for, then it's really easy. You're naturally going to use the keywords, but just be aware that you want to use the keywords and you'll rank better if you do. I posted it onto Pinterest, and we received 21 upvotes and 3 likes. Yes, I am on Pinterest. Men's Urban Fashion is my most successful board with 120 followers. It's probably like 130 now. My wife is like, she's just mortified by this too, which she makes fun of me basically. She says, only gay men are on Pinterest, right? So I pinned this. It just exploded for me, basically. I'd never been so popular. This guy especially, he just loved me immediately afterwards. But I don't care about, posting Anglophile erotica. What I care about is my family. And this is a photo that I took of my son's stool sample in our fridge. We went on vacation to... What? We went on vacation to Dominican Republic and to Punta Cana. And we got really sick, and it just wouldn't go away. And so we had to I had to spoon poo into that little thing. Really gross. I just couldn't eat that pudding ever. So Dreams Resort, they saw that post and they contacted me on Twitter. And great, I love it. Good customer service. They're going to offer me something, right? But they never got back to me. They just ignored me. So now I'm really angry, right? How do I get my revenge on these people? So I start Googling Punta Cana food poisoning, Punta Cana diarrhea, and they've done an incredible PR job of this. Essentially, everything that ranks well, Yahoo Answers and those kind of websites, they've just filled them up with this kind of nonsense, like Yomri over here telling us that tourists drink too much and too cold drinks, and there's no problem with food poisoning. Half of the people at my resort had food poisoning. The drinks weren't even that cold. I don't believe it. Yomri, 409 comments, all about the Dominican Republic, right? If this guy doesn't work for the tourist board, he should. So let's look at the traffic. Punta Cana food poisoning, 20 people every month. Punta Cana diarrhea, 20 people every month. Okay, let's do it. Punta Cana diarrhea. Now I rank first. It took me a couple of months. But yeah, I've got time for that, right? I was ranking 11th, which is the top of the second page. I was ranking 11th. But how did I get here? Well, I got about 12 social shares for the content, which I worked at. It was a fun piece of content. And that drove me to the middle of the first page. And then I went out and I looked for who else ranks for this. And Foodors, do you say that like that? Foodors? I don't know. Anyway, these guys, they ranked. And so I put a comment up and I commented. Comment links like this, lowest on the food chain. Google doesn't really care about this stuff, but I did it anyway. Just to annoy them, basically. And then I linked to my blog post. You can see how it's struck through there. That means it's a no-follow link. That means, and most comment links are, what that is the webmaster's way of telling search engines, don't send authority through this link. Don't let this link influence how you feel about that content, that it is better. So be aware of that. Comment links, not the best kind. But I know this guy, Steve Barrymore, who's a lovely guy and blogs all the time about the Caribbean, basically. And I said, hey, man, I got really sick. I want to tell your readers about how to avoid food poisoning when traveling. And he said, yeah, I would love that piece of content. You should guest post on my blog. And right here is the link, food poisoning and diarrhea, goes through to my site from a great website. That is the kind of thing that pushes you to number 1. So you should be looking to build these kind of links. So have I heard back from Dreams Resort yet? No, not yet. But every month, 150 people come and hear my story about my diarrhea. And I think I'm changing minds one at a time, So what is a digital influencer? What the fudge is a digital influencer? Yeah, I said it, fudge. It's anybody who can reach people online just like Sweet Brown, reach people online. And the great thing about the internet is that I can't tell you what the equation is for that. Because if you really look at the internet, it's what's surprising that really gets traction. It's what's wonderful, you know? It's the really creative stuff. The thing that comes out of left field and just, whew. So basically, do that is my challenge to you. And what we've lined up today is a bunch of people who are doing exactly that kind of stuff. They're getting real traction from real content, and I want them to enlighten you guys as to how they're doing it. And maybe we can all learn from each other and from them and get a little better at this. So thank you all very much for attending this conference.